are starting to think ahead now to the next thing. Jason Wheeler here to talk more about, we're finally getting to that point where we're about to thaw out, and it's starting to look like we have to think about the possibility of winter storm scammers coming up next. It is a thing. And no one knows that better than the Better Business Bureau. We've got Jason Meza with us today from the BBB. Jason, thanks so much for taking the time because this is the time when this matters to talk about this.
Appreciate the time as well. It's like clockwork every year. We just know what to anticipate, unfortunately.
I think that we're so accustomed to this, Jason, when we have had a tornado here in Texas or when we've had hailstorms here in Texas. We might not have our guard up as high with winter storms like this because we might not be as accustomed to the damage that's left behind by these. Can you talk a little bit about what kinds of scams we should be on the lookout for right now? And are you all already seeing reports of some of these?
Yeah, typically insurance adjusters know them as storm chasers. These are guys that go door to door, looking for damage, looking to drum up business. They will promise the world, but they want money in advance. And sometimes they show up, half the time they don't. And if they do, they don't finish the job. So they're looking for something up front. They're kicking doors down. They're really knocking on doors, trying to see if anybody will take them up. And more than likely, a lot of North Texans are back against the wall right now with a repair of some sort, whether it's a fallen tree branch, plumbing issues, contracting, whatever they need. Unfortunately, they know the damage path. These storm chasers, they know exactly where to go.
And I guess adding to the panic for some people is that, if they start calling around perhaps to traditional companies that maybe they've used in the past for, plumbing issues or HVAC issues, there's a good chance that a lot of those legitimate companies might be really backlogged right now. And so you have that extra temptation to go with somebody who you haven't totally vetted.
Right. I consider anything over a $500 repair more than likely I need a professional. One that I can't do on YouTube. I'll call somebody who I know or get a good referral. Your neighbors might give you somebody, but yeah, they're using the good names of companies, unfortunately, that are busy right now. So they will kind of achieve some kind of buy-in by saying, "Listen, I got a low teaser rate. I'm here in the neighborhood already. I just need $500 to get going," and they're gone. So yes, it's going to happen, unfortunately, this time of year.
Can you talk a little bit about how these people kind of beat doors down and just go through neighborhoods door to door? Do you also, see them active on places like social media, maybe even, hanging their flyers on doors if, somebody's not home?
Yeah, all the time. We would say they're casing neighborhoods. We would say they know where they're at. They're going neighborhood to neighborhood. They know again where the damage paths are. So they are trying to get that buy-in, saying, "Hey, Nancy down the street, your neighbor has used us," or they can pull a name out of anywhere and saying, "Listen, we're with XYZ. You've seen them on TV. We're here representing them." When you call the company, they're nowhere near that company. They don't truly represent them. So they've used that tactic. The door-to-door guys, they claim they were sent by the city, sent by somebody they know or a trusted authority. Utility imposters are really high right now. People are claiming to be with the power company, saying we need access to the backyard, we need to get in, and unfortunately, that turns into a really bad situation. And yeah, social media is just the Wild West right now.
Yeah, quite generally, you're never going to have your utility just show up and tell you that they need access to your backyard. They're going to contact you in different ways. I think that probably the hallmark of most of these, anyway, Jason, is that they appear in some way unsolicited. Though you haven't asked for them, they're there.
That's the key word. If you didn't reach out to them directly, then more than likely treat it with caution because, again, you didn't request a review, you didn't request the visit. But you always want to verify. It's extra homework. I get it. We might be back against the wall. We might be needing an emergency repair. But just reach out to your trusted circle of influence, your friends, neighbors, family that have used companies before. Get that number. Don't take that knock at the door.
And Jason, it is possible to find legitimate people to do repairs for a cost that doesn't just blow you away. But we do have to go back to that whole principle of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if someone is offering you, a fix for something that just sounds way too good, you want it to be true, but a lot of times it usually is not.
I think if you get what you pay for in the end, but you also get what you don't pay for. If you're going for the lowest cost, high pressure tactic, these guys are good. They say all the right things, and they move in, move out. They collect a big deposit, usually cash or some other means. But yeah, they're unsolicited offers. They're high pressure guys, and they know what to say. But yes, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You're right.
And you also always want to be wary of somebody who's asking for a huge chunk up front or maybe the entire payment up front. That's a big red flag, isn't it?
Yeah, reputable guys don't usually demand full payment before work even starts. It's usually the rule of thirds. They want the third for a deposit, or 25%, the second third when they show up with material in hand, the final third when when they've completed and you're satisfied with the project. So, yeah, the good guys will run through a scenario with contract in hand, no blanks, and really help you out.
You talked just a moment there ago about pressure tactics. Let's get into that just a little bit more because, again, I think that when it comes to freezing issues and maybe burst pipes and so forth, a lot of us may not be as familiar with those as we are with hail, which unfortunately we're very familiar with here
Yeah.
in North Texas. So when somebody starts laying on the pressure and telling you, oh, you better do it right now. You got to make a decision right now because if you don't, it's going to do this and it's going to do that, and you're going to push down all the dominoes and it's going to be terrible. Those pressure tactics can really start making you sweat and kind of push you into a really bad decision.
Correct. They don't have to create any urgency. It's there with this winter weather. I mean, with the bursting pipes, power cutting off, things like that. So they can also tempt people by increasing prices, saying, you know what, this is for a limited time. If you don't act, I'm going to be busy. Price goes up. Price gouging kind of comes into the picture at this point because they know they can command a certain price and they can claim material costs can go up. So all of this plays into this emergency situation. So you really got to have your guard up, as you mentioned, play defense, and really know that uh, you've got to do your homework before you run into a situation that could really cost you in the end. And we tell people start with their insurance. If they're unsure, they have an insurance policy in place for a reason. Check that deductible. Call your adjuster. Take your own photos and videos. Do your own surveillance. That way, you can have it for your peace of mind as well.
Jason, how do these people know which neighborhoods to go to? Because I mean, this is such a widespread thing. It's not, for instance, like, somewhere where a tornado has gone through a 1 mile path. This is all over the place. How do they pick and choose who they're going to target?
It's a little different scenario than a storm chaser that would go out for like a hailstorm or scenario. But yeah, for such a big swath of North Texas that this covers, everybody's vulnerable. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what age group you're at, what demographic, what neighborhood or zip code you're in. Everybody is vulnerable to this type of reach. Unfortunately, so yes, you need to know how your utility company communicates with you. Yes, you need to ensure that you don't take the first knock at the door. Do some homework and trust your social circle. Your social media is there for a reason. You have friends and family that you trust. Bounce things off of them, and your BBB is in your backyard as well. Your Better Business Bureau. We're always tracking profiles. We want to know what's going on in our neighborhoods. We want to see who's moving in and out. So if you see something, say something like your law enforcement says.
With these scammers, as they go from neighborhood to neighborhood, Jason, how important is it for them to get a foothold? So, if they've got, 100 homes to choose from, how important is it for them to get one person to bite so that then they can start to use that person's name with other people and say, in fact, we're handling the job right down the street, and we just wanted
Yeah.
to, see if you wanted us to handle yours as well. Mrs. So and so, 3 houses down from you has already contracted with us. Really important, I guess, to follow up in that case if you want to go with someone and contact Mrs. So and so and ask her, did they do the work? Did you pay up front? How much, how expensive was it, et cetera.
Yeah, isn't that dual factor authentication that your phone kind of messages you today? Like it bounces the code off of your phone to say, "Is this really you? Did you really request this info?" So it's the same scenario. Yes, you want to call those people and say, "Did you really use this service? Are they really in your backyard? Are you using them?" Same thing with your power company. Did you really send somebody out? And if they're claiming to be from a roofing company or electric or power or plumbing company, did you guys send this person out? Are they in the neighborhood? Authorized to work for the business, just to bounce that information. If you don't, it could cost you, like we mentioned. So you'll be on this side, which is reporting a scam. Unfortunately, we don't want this side. We don't want to meet you on that side of it. We want to see that you're doing your homework and checking profiles on this side before you go into a contract.
And you mentioned how they turn the screws and they really, start to make you feel like you've got to make a decision right then. It's always best to take that, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour to sit there and parse through these things.
Yeah.
And so much of it is right here at our fingertips. And you all are a great resource, Jason. I mean, I do home improvement stuff all the time, and I'm with you. If I can't do it by watching the YouTube video, let me just call somebody here. But the fact of the matter is, when I start calling around to people, even if it's names I've gotten from people who've suggested them, who I'm close to, I always check your site and see, do they have a profile there? Are they registered with the Better Business Bureau? What's the grade that they have there? And what are some of the comments? Do they have, cases on the Better Business Bureau where people have complained? It really gives you a lot of insight into what's going on with somebody.
I call it homework, Jason, because it's exactly that. You can read all the complaints, feedback, good and bad. I'm a negative Nancy. I like to go and see what a business, how they responded to the bad comments to see if they corrected it, try to make it right. So yes, I'm looking at all that. I'm doing a deep dive and I'm trying to figure out, is this the person I want to be in a business relationship with at the end of the day? A lot of money's going out the door. And so we want to make sure that there's a guarantee, not the brake light guarantee, meaning as soon as they drive off, the repair is as good as the brake lights and they're gone. You want the guarantee to last if it's going to be good workmanship and if it's going to last longer than a couple months. So yes, do that homework.
And finally, Jason, I would ask you, if somebody has been scammed and has found out the hard way and saw those brake lights after they gave, a chunk of money up front, I think that they might, sort of feel like they want to, retreat into their shell, not tell anybody what happened. There's a lot of shame associated with that. How important is it, though, for people to, not only just report that to the authorities, but report that to the Better Business Bureau and give every detail that they can about who this person said they were, and tell them what happened there at the Better Business Bureau, because you all might be able to help, I guess, prevent that from happening to other people.
Yeah, it's similar to leaving breadcrumbs on a trail. You prevent the next person from tripping or falling into that same trap per se. So yes, we need every piece of data. We're putting a puzzle together. If we can share information with law enforcement partners, if we can share details with financial partners of ours, we want to do that. But we need to know what's going on with the pulse on the ground. So yes, report it up. Even if you didn't lose money, we want to hear about your instance. It could be a missing name or number, or email that we would need for an investigation that we're doing. So even the near miss scenarios, if you think it's worthy, then please send it up. I mean, anytime, 24 hours a day, we'll take that scam report.
And we just need to have our guards up for the scammers right now. Like I said, I think that we are ready for them after wind events and hail events. We're just not as accustomed to the freezing temperature events.
Right. There's so many great businesses in Texas, and it's unfortunate that that 1% will squeeze through and be dishonest or try and scam people while they're at this point in their life. So it's unfortunate. It will be happening though, unfortunately.
Hmm. Jason Meza, always great to speak with another Jason. Really appreciate it with the Better Business Bureau with there with some very timely advice that hopefully keeps us from falling into that awful trap, because there are people out there who will make a quick buck and have no problems taking your money without doing any work at all for you.
Correct. Thanks to the team. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Jason.